Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you are taking care of yourselves in the best way that you know how to, appreciating yourselves in every way. There was something I was speaking to a friend about, this process of trying to find happiness in our lives, trying to build this feeling of consistent happiness, of joy, of peace, of these things that we desire for ourselves in our lives. And it can seem like it's overwhelming, especially when we look at the world and we see that it seems like it's getting more and more chaotic every single moment. The thing that we have to do within ourselves is to find that peace that we desire. We have to be the calm within the storm so we can navigate through this world. And trust me, more people will want to come to that calm. More people will want to find that calm within the storm as they look at you, as they witness you moving gracefully throughout the world. It is your destiny to do such things, to find happiness, to find peace, to find joy. But it is a process. It's something that takes our intention. It takes the intention of constantly dropping consistent drops that bring us better feelings. Focusing on things that feel better, feel more in alignment. And our emotions, as I've said many times, they will guide us to the truth of this world. And it may not seem like it's relevant. It may not seem like your happiness or your peace is going to stop world hunger, or it's going to end war, or stop famine and disease and deforestation and environmental things, all these things that are very much seemingly present in the world. It may not seem like your peace and your happiness and your joy will transform that, but it will, and it is. Every drop that you add to that bucket of happiness, of peace, of joy that you're allowing yourself to have, it is changing the world. These steps to find happiness and peace in our lives, they are incremental steps that we have to take consistently. And something I had mentioned to a friend of mine in describing this is it being similar to a bucket that's below a faucet that's just dripping. And it's just one drip at a time, constantly dripping into this empty bucket. But from the moment that that first drop was dropped into the bucket, that bucket is no longer empty. Now someone can pick it up and it may seem like this bucket is empty because there's only one drop of water in there. But if you keep that bucket there and you keep dripping that drop into that bucket over and over and over again, eventually that bucket will fill and it will overflow and it will be abundant with the water that started with that one drop. This life that we're moving through, again, the world will show us chaos and despair and destruction. But it's up to us to drop the drops into that bucket that feel good for us. The ones that feel right for us, the ones that feel like this is something that feels better for me. And when that bucket begins to overflow, it overflows into the world. And I assure you that drop of water, it gets faster and faster and faster as we trust that we're able to do that. As we trust that this bucket will get filled, and even though this doesn't look like it's getting filled because there's just a couple drops in there right now, I believe that it will fill. I believe that there's something that feels good about dropping these drops into this bucket. It feels good. And I don't know what else is in this world. Everything else seems so confusing. Everything seems in disarray, but what I know is that when I listen to the song, it makes me feel good. When I talk to this friend, it makes me feel good. When I say kind things to myself, it makes me feel good. These are drops into that bucket, and I have faith that feeling this way, it will navigate me into a life that feels better. It will navigate me into a world that appears to be better. And again, it may not seem related, but many times we don't know how we're going to change the world, the big world, in that way that has all of this pain and destruction and chaos. It seems overwhelming. But as that bucket fills more, it seems much more  You look at the world in a much more optimistic way. You start seeing the possibility, the faith that you have that these drops will bring me great things in my life, will bring me great feelings in my life. And even if it's just for this moment, my life is right now. So feeling good right now, listening to the song right now, this is how I want to feel right now in my life. And this is a drop that I'm putting into this bucket, and I have faith that it will continue to bring me great things. And as that bucket fills up more, we can start to extend that faith outside of us. I know that this bucket will overflow into the world. I know that it will create a change in this world that I want to see, that we all want to see. I know that I have faith in that. That is what I choose to believe, because that's a thought that feels good. That's another drop in my bucket. And I assure you, as that bucket begins to reach its brim and starts to overflow, new ideas, new thoughts, new beliefs, new smiles, new energies will come about in your presence, and it will light up the world around you. I heard this from inspirational speakers many years ago as I was doing this work, as I continue to do this work. And it was so strange to me as I started to realize people staring at me, people randomly coming up to me and saying how my smile brightened their day, how my energy is something really great, how the words that I'm speaking sound inspirational. But these are only words that are coming from my heart, and they're words that are coming from that consistent drop of water that I had to put in that bucket, that I wanted to put in that bucket. And now it's beginning to overflow, and I'm not sure where it's flowing to. I'm not even sure what I'm doing right now, but I know that it feels good. And I know that the people that I come across, it feels good to interact with them. It feels good to feel the lightness of their being be expressed. And we all have the ability to do this for each other. When you're there for a friend, when you extend a kind smile, when you offer a kind gesture, these things are brightening the world around you. And they are creating a cascading effect that are helping other people to realize that they want their bucket filled too. And as we all begin to fill our bucket, our own bucket, and it seems like we're doing the selfish thing by enjoying our lives, by loving ourselves, by finding happiness and joy in our lives. Like, this is something that we feel is a selfish thing to do. But as we do that more, and as we encourage other people to do that in their own lives, hundreds of thousands of millions and billions of people begin to have their buckets filled and overflowing into the world. And I assure you that will be the change that we've all wanted to see. That we felt, I alone filling my own bucket, I can't make that change. But you can make that change. And it's not changing anything by yourself. It's extending the love that you feel for yourself, the kindness that you feel for yourself, extending that to others and letting them do the same for themselves in their own life. And let them fill their bucket, and let that bucket overflow. And then your waters will merge. The water of all the buckets, they will merge as they begin to overflow. And the world will be new. There will be the change that we've always wanted to see. And we don't have to wait until the world gets on board with that. We can feel that in our own lives, because when your bucket overflows, you will feel it. You will see that new world. You will feel that new world. And even if it hasn't transpired yet, your faith and your belief will continue to add drops to that bucket. And at some point, it will become a stream going into that bucket, and it will overflow, and it will keep flowing, and it will keep flowing until this world and all the buckets are flowing together. And that may sound like a fanciful thing, some kind of beautiful word that's being spoken, but all you have to do is fill your own bucket. It's not about thinking about how it's going to impact the rest of the world. Just have faith that it will, because it's a pleasant thought to think. It's another thought that adds water to that bucket. And again, it may not seem like it's doing anything for anything outside of you, or anything or anyone outside of you, but I assure you it is. Allow yourself to fill your bucket with consistent attention towards things that feel good for you, and letting go, disregarding the things that no longer serve you, the things that don't feel good. Let go of your focus on those things and focus on the drops in your own bucket. And I assure you, miracles will transform this world into everything that we desired. So that's all I have for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that I'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page @everysunpodcast as well. And that's all I got. Love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.